Welcome to Studio D in the Gaylord College of Journalism and Mass Communication on the campus of the University of Oklahoma. This is Sooner Sports Pad. And now here's your host, Jessica Coody.
Welcome, everyone, inside Studio D for another edition of Sooner Sports Pad. We've got a great show lined up for you tonight. He's a senior defensive end and hosts his own video series on Soonersports.com. RJ Washington is going to join us live in studio. She scored 9 goals for the Sooners so far this season, including the game-tying goal against Oklahoma State in Bedlam on Sunday. We have the story on Renee Cuellar. Plus, we're going to get our live studio audience involved in Sooner Sports Pad Face-Off. But first, the Sooners are coming off another bye week after the loss to Kansas State, and we'll face another unbeaten Big 12 foe on Saturday. Oklahoma will travel to Lubbock to take on 4-0 Texas Tech. The Sooners haven't had much luck in Lubbock over the recent seasons. OU hasn't won a game there since 2003. Last time Oklahoma went to Lubbock, it wasn't pretty. The Red Raiders handed the Sooners a 41-13 loss back in 2009. And, of course, everyone remembers last season's game here in Norman. Texas Tech stopped a late Oklahoma comeback to win 41-38. Seth Doege had a huge night, throwing for 441 yards and 4 touchdowns. Doege is back and putting up big numbers so far this season, nearly 1,200 yards passing along with 15 touchdowns. But perhaps the biggest challenge for Oklahoma will be on the other side of the ball. Landry Jones threw for over 400 yards and 5 touchdowns against Tech in 2011. But the defense the Sooners will see Saturday is a little bit different. It's a little bit different Texas Tech defense. The Red Raider D is #1 in the nation, both overall and against the pass, giving up just 3 touchdowns this season. OU got a lot of work in during their second bye week. I caught up with center Gabe Ikard at OU's weekly press conference. Gabe telling me it was 3 of the toughest practices he's been through during this entire season.
All about working on fundamentals, getting some good working, first team on first team, stuff like that. I was basically working on us, maybe some of the problems we'd had in the first couple games. So we addressed that stuff. That was the main focus. Worked on Tech, obviously, but a lot of film study stuff, whether it was looking at past games, looking at Tech, just a lot of mental and physical preparation, and probably the 3 hardest in-season practices I've had since I've been here. So, it's not like it was a week off. It was tough, and got a lot of good work in. Really pleased. Really positive attitude amongst the team. Still have everything to play for. So, just working to get better.
Texas Tech is ranked #1 nationally defensive in a couple of different categories. How ready is this offense for that challenge?
We're still working on our preparation, but they are very impressive on tape. Forced 4 turnovers against Iowa State. Only gave up like 189 yards of total offense. So, they're talented, very big and strong up front. So we're going to have to play well, and execute really well, play with tempo and, balance our run, our pass game because they play very physical, even in the secondary and the linebacker. So we're going to have to be sharp because those guys have proved that they're a talented defense. You just got to, execute well.
Well, the Sooner soccer team hit the road this past weekend, and the volleyball team hosted Big 12 newcomer West Virginia. It's time to bring in my awesome co-host, Matthew Fresquez and Drew Farley. They're going to get you caught up in all the latest news on Sooner sports. Guys, take it away.
Well, the OU soccer team headed down to Lubbock, Texas, taking on the Texas Tech Red Raiders this past Friday. Both teams came out firing, but Texas Tech took the early lead in the 7th minute with a goal. However, Renee Cuellar says, I don't think so. Gets one of her own in the 8th. Later on,
Well, you know what? Dropped them
2-1. There you go. Texas Tech dropped it 2-1. Didn't score in the second half. Rough going for Oklahoma. Got to go up to Stilley. What happened, Matthew?
Well, the Sooners were looking to bounce back from that loss in Lubbock, and they made that 80-mile trek up to Stilley. OU actually beat OSU earlier in the season, but the Cowboys strike first right here in the first half, but that's okay because Cuellar es en fuego. That Cuellar is on fire for those of you non-Spanish speakers. That's her 9th on the season and 5th in 5 games. That would tie it up at 1. That's how this one would end. Devonshire, as always, was amazing, had 4 saves on the night to help this tie out. And you know that Oklahoma State was still ranked number 17 in this game.
Good stuff. Well, In other news, Oklahoma volleyball team welcomed new Big 12 opponent West Virginia to McCaslin Fieldhouse for the first time this season. The Mountaineers had the Sooners number early in the first, getting an early point right here, going up on the Sooners, and they would win the first set. Blocked it out of bounds, ladies. Come on. 25-21. They lose the first set, but that's okay because they came back in the second. Sally McLaurin coming up right here gets a big block. She would have 7 on the night.
Done. She's going to follow it up right here with an ace. A beautiful hit, and that's going to even things up 1 set apiece, and then we come to the third set. And here's McLaurin. They call me MCA. I got a license to kill. 13 kills on the night from McLaurin. Thank you, thank you.
They like it.
It was close, but mistakes. West Virginia serve sails long. OU up 2-1.
So you got to go to the fourth set now. So Sally McLaurin, MCA, I guess, getting it done on defense with another block. Like I said, she'd have 7. Match point coming up right here. West Virginia trying to hang on, but Tara Dunn, she's going to say, no, sir, and gets it done. Sooners beat the West Virginia Mountaineers 3-1.
Yeah!
Good stuff for the Sooners.
3-1.
Now, hang tight, stay in your seats, because right here after the break, me and Mr. Fresquez are going to face off like we do every week.
And don't worry, we have our real audience, no more replacement audience, so I should get a fair shake at this one. We'll see how they hold up after the break.
We're going to get
Three arguments for Matthew and Drew, and we're bringing in the live audience for this one. This one's Robert, and he's got tonight's first topic.
Which Sooner transfer has been most effective this season? Renee Cuellar or Justin Brown?
Okay. Great question. Renee Cuellar with 9 goals. Justin Brown has been pretty effective in the special teams. Drew, you're up first. You won last week.
I did, and I'm going to keep winning because that's what we do here. But, okay, see, there you go. I got to go with Justin Brown. Okay, this guy, he's come in, and he's brought something back to OU football that hasn't been here for a while, and it's the special teams explosive ability. We saw what he did against Florida A&M in the punt returns. Kickoff returns are getting better, even though he's not back there. He brings much-needed maturity. We've got a lot of young wide receivers playing here this year. The maturity in the locker room coming from Penn State. He's making plays on the field, on offense, and on special teams. He's a special impact player. I can see where Renee Cuellar might challenge him, but Justin Brown helping Bob Stoops and the boys out big time this year.
Yeah. Now, okay.
Come on.
All
there
right,
it is.
Yeah. Okay. Now, okay. I understand Justin Brown. He's making an impact. There's no doubt about it. He is a big-time player, but Renee Cuellar is something fantastic. She starts plays, she continues plays, and then she finishes plays. Renee is a playmaker, flat out, that's it. When you watch her handle the ball and she flies past people while she's putting on moves, leaving people in her dust, and really that's harder to do on a soccer field than it is on a football field. She leads the Sooners and the Big 12 with 9 goals and 19 points.
Great debate. Can't say I'm surprised. Can't say I'm surprised by your 2 answers. All right, it's time for topic number 2. Mason.
Can the Sooner volleyball team win the Big 12?
Got to move quickly, guys. Drew, you're up first.
Yeah, absolutely. They can win the Big 12. The Sooners are more talented than they've been in the past couple of years. Sally McLaurin, Maria Fernanda. They've got a lot of young ones coming up. And if you look at the Big 12, really the biggest challenge they have is Texas. And they've already kind of weathered the storm. Yeah, they got pretty much thrashed down in Austin. But they're almost unbeatable at home here. They haven't lost in Norman.
Now, here's the thing. OU, they're top 3, maybe top 4. But the Big 12 is not even good in volleyball. When it comes to volleyball, they're not the Big 10 with Penn State and Nebraska and some of these powerhouse schools. They're just not powerhouse. When you look at it, they lost to Northern Colorado, Colorado State, Nebraska, Texas Tech. Texas.
All right, it's time for our third and final topic. This one coming from Daniel.
Can Oklahoma beat Texas Tech on Saturday?
Drew, there you go.
Okay, it's on everybody's mind. Can they? Yeah, they can. Anything can happen in college football if you've been watching it so far this year. But is it the smart pick? Since 2003, The Sooners have not won in Lubbock, and so if I had to pick this game, I got to pick Texas Tech because of an inconsistent offense, despite a defense that keeps picking their offense up over and over.
Historically, the Sooners
haven't been able to do it.
Historically, the Sooners, a Stoops-led Sooners team, always bounces back and they take it out on the next team.
Not in Lubbock,
They've had 2 weeks to get ready for this Texas Tech team, and revenge is on the Sooners' mind. The Sooners have revenge on their mind for last year. And this OU finally starts getting rolling in Lubbock, and they roll.
All right, well, Drew making the crowd mad on that one. Matthew, I think you picked up some bonus points. All right, it's time for these guys to decide. It's the expert panel. Who thought Drew won this face-off tonight, guys? Let's hear it.
Oh.
Oh, that's terrible, Drew.
Oh, that's what happened when I'm honest. That's what happens when you're honest,
All right,
guys.
who's gone for Matthew? Let's hear it.
Yep.
There you go.
No more replacement audience. That's a real audience
Come on.
Right. Matthew finally picking up a win. Great job.
1-1. We'll see.
All right, last week during bold predictions, these guys predicted that the Texas Tech game is going to end 70-20 OU. Now, since we didn't play the game last week, I'm going to give you guys a chance to tweak your answers. Let's hear your bold predictions.
All right, well, I'm sticking to my guns with this, okay? I said it. The OU defense is playing really well early on. Mike Stoops brought in this scheme that's going to help them win and play against teams like Texas Tech, these Big 12 passing teams. That's what the 4-2-5 does for you. RJ might correct me later.
Okay, guys,
it's the
gotta
Sooners
go.
offense that's going to give us trouble.
I said 70. Let's not get ridiculous. We'll go to 60.
Ridiculous.
60 is a little more realistic. They're going to score 60 points. OU rolls.
Hold them under 20.
OU rolls.
All right, great job tonight, guys. It's time for our tweet of the week. This one coming from OU deep snapper Austin Woods, who's been battling Hodgkin's lymphoma. He had his final round of chemotherapy. Woods tweets, "Fighter's mentality, round 12, knockout round. Hashtag beat cancer 50. If you haven't seen the feature on Austin Woods about his battle with cancer, check it out now on Sooner Sports TV. After the break, Matthew brings us the story of senior transfer Renee Cuellar, who is having a big season for the Sooners. And a little bit later, RJ Washington joins us live in studio. So stick with us. We'll be right back after this.
Special thanks to our television cornerstone partners, Chesapeake Energy, WindStar World Resorts, OU Outreach, OU President's Associates, and the OU Alumni Association.
Welcome back to Sooner Sports Pad. Now, for most Sooner athletes, their senior season is their last. But for one athlete, finishing as a Sooner could be the path to the world stage.
Soccer, the world's game. Senior forward Renee Cuellar is among 3 Sooners to experience this firsthand.
Well, Renee's a player that I've admired over the years, obviously having been in the Pac-12, and so the fact that we were able to get her to be part of our program has obviously been a huge part of our success this year.
In 2010, Cuellar played for the Mexican national team in the U20 World Cup, scoring 2 goals. One, a game winner against England.
It was just a great overall feeling. I was pretty nervous, and but when you score, it's kind of like, okay, you get the jitters out of the way.
Continuing up the ranks of international soccer, she became an alternate on the 2011 World Cup team. Then, in January of this year, she started in an Olympic qualifying tournament, but was forced to leave her team behind to return to Arizona.
I had a professor who obviously wasn't very fond of me missing. It was out of my hands. Obviously, it wasn't my choice, but I couldn't say no to not going back to school for it. So.
Renee then made a life-changing decision, becoming a Sooner just before the start of her senior season to play for a coach who understands her international dreams.
Especially with him having international experience, he can relate to me, with what I'm dealing with on the field, maybe my frustrations, my good moments, my bad moments, or, also my ideas, and what I'm trying to do on the field that sometimes may not work.
Potter played international soccer with the English national team.
It's great because when he coaches me, he's trying to, prepare me further than college. He's not looking at me necessarily as a college player, but, as an international and future professional player who wants to go further with the game.
When you have a player that does it too, it makes you very proud. And so I'm obviously very proud of her. The fact that I can kind of share in that moment of understanding what maybe she's going through only sweetens it even more.
Cuellar will compete with the Mexican national team in Brazil in December during an international tournament, with hopes to make the final roster for the 2015 World Cup and the 2016 Olympics.
It's a great opportunity. I think, just being able to compete and, continue playing after college is it's a great feeling. It's awesome, representing my country and being able to step out there and do what I love.
Cuellar leads the Sooners and the Big 12 with 9 goals. OU takes on Virginia Tech in Virginia on Sunday. Now, after the break, we have defensive end R.J. Washington with us right in studio. Where is he? Where's Waldo? Where's R.J. Washington? He's somewhere in there. Oh, there he is. Right when we get back, Sooner Sports Pad.
Sooner Sports Pad. You can catch him every week on Soonersports.com, taking Sooner fans behind the scenes of the OU football program. Oh, and he's the guy leading the Sooners down the tunnel on Saturdays here in Norman. R.J. Washington joins us live in studio. Guys, take it away.
All right, thanks, Jessica. I mean, she said it. You lead the team out on the field. This year, they have this awesome intro video. The crowd's getting jacked up. What's it like storming the field in front of everybody every weekend when you play here in Norman?
It's undescribable in a lot of ways. It's a natural high you can't really get from anything else. You got 85,000 plus cheering, and then as soon as I see you walk out, it just builds and builds and builds. It's almost like being in a movie, but it's even better because it's real. But it's a great experience, and God, I'll cherish it for the rest of my days.
Okay, cool.
Now, the Big 12 has been putting up a ton of points this last weekend. Baylor, West Virginia, Texas, Oklahoma State. Yeah. What's the mentality in the Big 12 as a defensive end?
I think the mentality, regardless of what conference you're in, is go get sacks, period. But in this one, it's definitely go get sacks. 'Cause you got people throwing 6, 7 touchdowns. If you hit them on that play, then they can't throw it. But, I think you're going to have a lot more endurance than, in a lot of other conferences where it's just, run, all right, punt, run, punt. It's just like pass. Pass. You might come off the field for one play. All right, get you a blow. You ready? So, that's what's been like in the Big 12 the last couple of years, and this year is not any difference.
And it keeps going because you guys take on Texas Tech this week, and we talked about it. You had a couple of early buys. You haven't really seen a lot of game action. Kansas State doesn't really air it out. Florida A&M, UTEP, not the aired out kind of offenses.
True.
How do you handle Texas Tech this weekend, and how do you keep your guys going during bye weeks when you know you don't have a game on the weekend?
Well, Gabe said it last week. That was by far the hardest bye week we have ever had since I've been here. It was usually during a week of practice, you don't have a game. Even sometimes when you do have a game, it's going to be like, you'll scrimmage a little bit against each other, good on good, ones-on-ones type thing. You might do 10 plays. We went in, we were like, all right, we're going to have a Monday. That means we'll go against each other, maybe inside, which is just like running the ball and stuff like plays like that for 10 plays, and then we'll break it up, go scouts, we'll be all right. And we got out there. And that is not what happened. It's like, all right, good on good. We got inside, we got team run, combos, and then we got to play against each other again. We're like, wait, what? And it was just banging and banging and banging. We got in the locker room, we looked at each other. It was like an earthquake hit and nobody knew what happened. It was like that. It was but you prepare like you always prepare. You watch extra film. A lot of the times you might not be able to take as many physical reps as you can going with your scout team or whoever doing the plays for you. But you can always watch film and get mental looks at what you need to see and what you need to do and what you need to focus on. So we'll watch a lot of last year's game, a lot of the games they just had this weekend against Iowa State, and a lot of the film from last year, and just build on that.
One more from us.
Okay, now we like to keep it a little loose here. Really quickly, the Avengers just came out on Blu-ray.
Just got
Dark Knight Rises was big over the summer. If you could be one superhero, what would you be?
Oh man. I mean, it's hard because I like being black, so that definitely puts a damper in being a superhero. But if I could have their powers, Iron Man's definitely the coolest superhero, and he's got the most swag. But the Hulk does the most damage, and I mean Batman's cool and everything. Batman didn't even make the series. Joker made the series. He got beat up through 3 movies. Every movie, it just happened to win. I'd rather be Bane than Batman.
All right, so we'll say Iron Man with a little bit of Hulk. If the suit breaks, you just Hulk out, right?
Let's go.
There you go.
Just any audience questions over there?
All right, there you go. We're going to let one of our audience questions ask RJ a question. This is Zach, and he's got a great question.
RJ, tough game for the defensive line against K-State. Tech historically has some big offensive linemen. What does Coach Shipp and Coach Wright have you doing this week to get to Tech's quarterback and put pressure on him?
It's nothing, groundbreaking. You don't have to reinvent the wheel or anything like that. You just got to play the technique, and your technique will lead you to making plays in the game. So it doesn't matter who they are, how big they are. I mean, Kansas State's offensive lineman that I had to go against was like 6'8", 328. I'm like 6'2", some change, and 260. So either way, you're going to be going up against somebody bigger than you, probably stronger than you. And I mean, as long as you have good leverage, you can hold your ground. But as long as you play technique, everything will be all right, regardless of who you go against.
All right.
All right, we want to thank RJ Washington for joining us in studio. Always a treat to have him. Let's take a look at what's coming up this week on Sooner Sports TV. Wednesday, the Sooner volleyball team is going to host Wichita State. The game will be tape delayed on Fox Sports Oklahoma, and you'll want to make sure and tune in at 10 a.m. on Saturday. Sooner Sports TV brings you all the information you need to get ready for kickoff against Texas Tech. Sooner Sports Game Day, 10 a.m. right here on Sooner Sports TV. Well, that's all the time we have for Sooner Sports Pad. Thank you again to RJ Washington for joining us in the studio. Got to thank our live audience. They were great tonight. Thanks to the crew. For Drew Farley and Matthew Fresquez, I'm Jessica Cootie. Have a great night. We'll see you next time on Sooner Sports Pad.